welcome. I want to just start off, Dessa's going to give us a presentation on dancing with fear, and I think it's really going to be an amazing talk. But I also want to talk a little bit about our first 90 days here, because this is really, we started in July. This Sunday pretty much ends our first quarter in our new location, and we've got a couple of really cool and amazing things happening. One is our first ecstatic dance. We did that a week ago yesterday. Rusty was there, Dessa and I were there, and 46 people were in here dancing Friday night until, we didn't actually leave till like almost 11:30. It went on, and that was a fundraiser for us, and it brought in a cool new crowd. But I want to tell you about the fundraising, because we did things a little bit differently this time. First, we sold tickets. We charged $35, and you had to have a ticket to get in. If you showed up at the gate and you didn't have a ticket, it cost you $40. So we weren't doing a love donation per se. We had a goal, which we actually ended up exceeding. We wanted to have 40 people. We had 43 that were paid, and then we had another 3 or 4 that were just kind of invited guests. And what we had done was agreed that we would pay the expenses and then split the proceeds, the DJ and Adam. And when the DJ did the accounting at the end of it, he said, what would it cost to rent this place? And I said, probably $350 for the amount of time that we're going to be using it. $75 an hour for a place like this. And when he did the accounting, he went ahead and paid that. He paid us the $350 as an expense, and that's not what we agreed on. And it was better for us, but it wasn't what we had agreed on. So I said, you did the accounting a little bit differently than what we had agreed on, and it's an error in our favor. So, I don't want to take money that we're not entitled to. Hey, Helen. And so we had a conversation, and he's like, you know what? I love you guys. This is such a cool group, and I'm happy to do that. Let's just keep the accounting as I did it. So we're ending up getting like another $175 that we would not have gotten, that's like a direct contribution from Tristan, which I just think is like really, really cool. And not only that, if you were here last week, he was talking about his authentic language system. Dessa's going to talk to us a little bit about that, because that's one of the tools that she has used in her own Dance with Fear. And I've spoken to Tristan about, we have people starting to arrive now, Adam time. I've spoken to him about doing a specific Adam class. He's got one coming up that anybody can sign up for on October the 13th. We're going to help him market that. But I'm also saying, hey, Mel, come on in. Alexander. Sherry Coburn is in the house. Sherry Coburn is in the house. We already started. We decided to do something different, start on time today. Just as a thing. So anyway, Tristan's going to do this class for us, and anybody who wants to do it, this is his authentic language system. It's going to be an Adam thing that you guys will be able to participate in, but if you'd like to make a donation to help us offset the cost of that, this is going to be a new class. And I think a lot more of the things that we might be doing in the future might be event-oriented and class-oriented for deeper dives. We'll still do this. This is the Sunday conversation, and we'll always have this here. Looking forward, a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. The board is meeting on Saturday the 18th. We're doing a day-long retreat. Ann is a board member, Phil's a board member, I'm a board member, Stacy Murphy is a board member, so is Lance Howard and Ivan and Laurel, and there's one more that I'm missing.
Louis,
thank you. So there's 8 of us. So if there are ideas that you guys have that you think this is something that Adam should be doing. I had an idea come up that I want to talk to Sherry about later as a whole new offering that Adam may have. I hope you got the text and you're not surprised that I'm saying that. And just looking at things to grow. So if there are things that you think, hey, I did this at a festival and it was badass. And if Adam did it here, it would be really, really cool to do that. Let one of us know, and we'll put that on the agenda. You know, we're doing things in a different way, and we're working with a clean whiteboard. We can do anything that we want to do. So if you have a good idea, please share it. We have our new moon, or our full moon drumming coming up roughly 8 days from today, and just many, many cool things are going to be happening here. So with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker. And we are doing this more in a conversational format. I met Dessa less than a month ago at a Wednesday meditation, and I had just been talking to Tristan about the ecstatic dance. We had just agreed to do it. So we had about a dozen people here, and I said, hey, FYI guys, cool thing coming up. Alexander and Mel were there that night, and Dessa just lit up when I said we're going to do a static dance with Tristan, and he's going to be talking about authentic language. And she just got like super excited. And Dawn and I had like a little secret look between us. Dawn was like looking at me like, are you going to ask her or am I? Because when that light was lit, it was like, oh, she needs to share this story. So Dawn looks at me and I turn to Dessa and I'm like, how do you feel about being one of our speakers? And she immediately, without hesitation, it was very impressive, said, I'm in. And then her mind said, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you sure about this? And we saw that part too. In real time, if you were there, Mel and Alexander were there, they witnessed it. And so I said to Dessa, if you don't want to do this, I don't want to rope you into anything that you're not. And she's like, no, no, no. And we've had that conversation. And people are here because she asked them to come and support. So I've witnessed over the past couple of weeks, both the fear being very real. And I'm up here to help her stay out of her head and speak from her heart. Because when she speaks from her heart, the message is so pure and beautiful. And I'm really excited to be able to share that. But this is happening. She is conquering her fear in real time.
Right here, right now in front of you. Here we go.
Yeah. So I'd like to begin with a little meditation. And one of the things that I've always said to speakers here, we are the Adam Center, one of the easiest groups to speak to because we're curious, we're kind, we're compassionate, we're empathetic. And many of us have been up on this stage, so this is an easy stage to speak from. But I know you guys are going to tap into your compassion and empathy and support Dessa. So I'd like to do that in a meditation. Just a 5-minute meditation, I'll guide it. It'll be breath work oriented, and we'll just tap into our own compassion, empathy, security, and we're going to create a little energetic ball together. I'll guide you on how to do that. And then we're going to gift it to every member of the audience and our speaker, Dessa. So just come into peace and calmness that is the substrate on which our life unfolds. And when we take conscious control of our breath, breathing in light and love, breathing out stress and strain, we can purify the vessel so that the only thing remaining is the serenity, the tranquility, the clarity, and the compassion. So just breathe in light, breathe out stress, and scan your body and notice where your attention is being called. Empathy is calling out, compassion is calling out, security is calling out. And breathe energy into all of those aspects of our being. And see them growing and becoming more powerful with every breath. And notice how quiet and calm we become just by relaxing into our true nature. And energetically now, with your heart filled with light, love, and compassion, I'd like you to just have the intention of opening up your heart space, being able to project that light and love into the heart space of Dessa, sitting up here on stage. And we can find ourselves supporting her and wishing her well, and loaning her a bit of our own confidence and encouragement to speak from her heart and let the true message, the divine message that is inside of her, be released out into the world. And with that, you can just rub your hands together and generate a little chi. And when you're ready, place your hands over your cheeks and eyes. Close out the meditation. And come on back into the room. Welcome. So, it's my pleasure today to introduce Dessa Dickerson. Grew up in Delta Junction and discovered some musical gifts that she had early on in life, set a big goal for herself and achieved it. And just like when I asked her to speak 3 weeks ago, there was an immediate reaction. So I'd love for you to just begin by, first of all, we haven't told you what the goal is, but I guess it was in the mailer that she applied to and was accepted into Juilliard. So I'd love for you to begin just by talking about how does a girl from Delta Junction ever get to the point where she can dream so big? And for those of us in the audience that don't know exactly what Juilliard is, I mean, let them understand what a big goal this is for a musician to achieve. So take her away, Dessa.
So my inspiration to apply to Juilliard, which is a music school of arts, music and arts in Manhattan, New York. I had a music teacher who inspired me and told me there was really no limitations to what I wanted to do. And in Delta, I had a lot of time on my hands. So I started off with clarinet, and from there I added a sax, a guitar, because it was cool in junior high and high school, you know, gotta be cool. And then I added keyboards and finally learned how to sing. And so as I hit my senior year, I realized I wanted to get out of Delta. You know, it's a little town. And so I applied to everywhere. Some schools were more science, some were more music. And my music teacher was like, how about Juilliard? You know, I was like, why the hell not? You know? And so I did. And then the responses from the colleges started pouring in. And some of those responses were like, yeah, you come on in, we'd love to have you. Others were like, sorry, we're not quite what we're looking for.
We regret to inform you.
Yep, that's exactly how they started off. And so one day I get the one from Juilliard. I'm looking at it, I still get goosebumps. It took me a little bit to open it. I did it with my teacher, and got accepted with a full scholarship from Delta Junction, town of, at that time, maybe 1,000 people. With the military base, I think we hit maybe 3,000. And that's with all the GIs and all the kids. I mean, that's a whole, it's not a real big community to go to Juilliard. I quickly felt panicked, scared. Within 2 weeks, I rejected the letter. I said, no, I'm not going to Juilliard.
And tell us about that battle a little bit, because you got your heart wanting one thing, you got your head kind of wanting something else.
Yeah. I was like, I definitely felt like I had the talent and the drive and the will to do it, but the fear of going from such a small community where we only had a stop sign, not even a stop light, okay, to somewhere where there's high-rise buildings was just inconceivable to me at that point. So my solution was to look at coming to Anchorage. So that was my next solution after I turned down Juilliard.
And so when you did that, things continued, and I don't know how much of that you want to share, but.
So growing up in a small town, I was given the opportunity early on to participate in a group that made you aware of the perils that can go with living in remote areas of Alaska. Suicide. Growing up in Delta Junction, there was not a year that we didn't lose somebody to suicide in the high school or junior high. So there was a drive in the community to start an organization called Natural Helpers, and I joined up. So I had some education early on to some prerequisite things to watch out for. As I progressed from high school to college, my partner at that time ended up having a mental break. And
Good breath.
thank you. And the world cracked open for me. I knew the world wasn't safe in certain aspects. We're all taught that from a young age. Fear has a very healthy role to play, and I feel we should not ignore, pardon my should, not ignore that fear when it does acknowledge in your body or your awareness, because it has a role to play. So this event caused me to re-examine my trust factor with my community, those people that I thought I knew. I did not realize that somebody could have such a shift in personality, and I did not understand how to process that. So it took me a very long time to be okay with the thought of even leaving this person, which then led me on to modern medicine, modern psychology, the medical field. I was already a bit of a nerd growing up, so I was open to just about any type of therapies. I tried cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, group therapy. Have you tried this? What about that? Hey, have you heard the new medication? Lexapro, that'll help you. How about some Paxil? How about a little Valium? You name it, right? 10 years or more. I was a zombie. I was a mess. I don't really remember doing much in my life that time. I let fear lead me at that time. the fear of that unknown. Thankfully, I had a great therapist who saw me through this time. And finally, after going through all of it, she was like, what about some alternative therapies? What about some different modalities? Have you heard about? Have you thought about? And that's where I really started to realize the ability that we have within ourselves. And those things came to light through a couple simple things that didn't seem so simple at the time, but kind of seem more simple now, which is a book that a couple people here I'm sure are very aware of called The Four Agreements. And for those of you that might not be aware of what the Four Agreements are, I'm going to pull out my paper because nerves, can't always remember. The Four Agreements is a book that's based on Toltec teachings. And there's four basic concepts, one of which is to be impeccable with your word. Now, this is the word that you speak out loud, but more importantly, that word we have inside, that self-talk tape. And for me, I found that when I went to a festival more recently in the past few years, this person, Tristan, brought up authentic language. Authentic language, for me, ties directly into this be impeccable with your word. We don't want to should on ourselves. All these judgments that we have tied to certain words aren't necessarily healthy for us because then we can't quite feel what we need to feel to be us. That's just my take. Anyway, so be impeccable with your word is one of the four agreements. Don't make assumptions. That ties into the judgments. I don't know what my mother-in-law might have gone through today that's causing her to cry or for me to cry. She's not crying right now, but just using you as a safe example, Mom. But I'm not going to make an assumption of what that is. But I would offer support to that person because that's who I am. Don't take things personally is the third one. That's always a hard one for me. I battle with it a lot. Anyway, do your best is the fourth one. Do your best. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. I have been battling with this talk for 2 weeks. I was so ready to say no and run out that door and be like, thanks for the offer, thanks for seeing the light, I'm out of here. But I'm doing my best. So I know I'm going to grow from doing this, and my hope is that I can shed some light on some things that have worked for me that might be a light for some of you. Besides this book, one thing that has been critically helpful, even when I was in mainstream medical therapy, is breath work. It's an easy term for something we do all the time. Our autonomic, thank you, that's the word I was looking for, system tells us to breathe all the time. As a musician, I was already belly breathing, where you breathe on your belly and then your chest, and then you breathe out. Very quickly, I learned in high school how to cyclic breathe, where I can actually breathe and exhale at the same time and keep the continuous note. Not that I'm practicing it all the time, but I can do it. So breath is very important, and what I didn't realize until later in life is the meditative part of music for me, playing my clarinet, that resonating, that vibration for me really helped calm my autonomic nervous system because I was in fight or flight as a child all the time. That was my normal operating system. So by playing music, I was able to deregulate and then get my body back in sync. For me, breath work is very essential and it ties into music. So I don't know how much breath work you guys know, but there's lots of different kinds. There's kind that they call coffee, I believe, right? And can raise your energy. There's water breathing. There's a humming breath, or where you make an audible noise on the exhale.
Speak to that a little bit because you know a lot about the vagus nerve and how to stimulate that using our breath. So, I mean, can you just share a little bit about?
One of the things I battle with is a health condition that relates to my vagus nerve. I pass out easily. I wear these awesome support stockings. Those that know me well know I have to wear it. I choose to wear them to keep me upright. So it's a condition called POTS, positional orthostatic tachycardic syndrome. But my vagus nerve causes me to pass out easily. Also, I get hot when you ought to be cold, and cold when you ought to be hot, and I sweat a lot and have some other weird things. But in learning that this condition is going on, I can also help regulate those energies. So with POTS, I have low energy. In the morning, I try to do coffee breathing. I try to do things to raise that energy level to help combat the things I can't control about my autonomic nervous system. So, humming breath is one of my favorites. And that went faster than what I thought it was going to. But what I would like to invite you guys to do kind of at the end is a simple breathwork thing, if you're open to it.
Well, let's set this up.
Okay.
Because we're going to ask you to explore, if you're willing to, a particularly unique type of breath work, and this is breath work. People don't think of it as breath work, but it's called the soul hug. And would you tell us a little bit about the soul hug and kind of guide them through what they might expect if they choose to participate in the exercise, that you can expect to feel in terms of releasing of the body as the mind gets out of it in the breath, and we just relax into being.
So a soul hug is a hug that you do with another person. So I would invite you here in a few minutes to pick somebody that, if you're okay with somebody that's not maybe a regular person you're with, somebody new to you. And I would ask let's try that again. With the soul hug, you want it to last 20 seconds or more, okay? The idea is, with that amount of time, it releases certain natural releasing chemicals in your brain. Dopamine, serotonin, all the happy, feel-good chemicals, okay? So you would pick a person to give a hug to, and you line up your hearts. So instead of going this direction with the head, you want to go this way so your hearts line up. And if you're comfortable doing 20 seconds. I try to ask that if the person's okay with setting an intent, kind of like how we did at the beginning here, sending me love. I send love back to the person I'm giving a hug to, or if I want to wish them something in particular that I know they're going through, you know, whatever. A soul hug is very helpful in that sort of thing. So setting an intent is always nice, or can be nice, excuse me. And with the soul hug, you do 3 hugs. So you hug once, and you breathe in and out together. So usually I'll go, all right, 1, 2, 3, inhale, and then you exhale. And then you do it again. And you do those the 3 times. What you'll notice is that first time, it's going to be a very shallow, tight hug. It's going to be hard to get oxygen kind of in. If you're comfortable, giving a little tighter squeeze with each deep breath will increase that release from your brain. And what you'll notice as each deep breath goes on, you'll feel that tension in yourself and that other person get less and less. I find these very helpful when I'm feeling emotional and I want to feel more connected with people. And I have actually been known to go around festivals and give soul hugs to random people. So it's really a unique way of meeting like-minded folks, because people can completely go, no, thank you. And I've had them do that, and that's totally valid and good for them. You know, yeah, you know what you want. But it's really also awesome to see how the universe brings you the people that are open to it. So,
And it's a wonderful time to observe what is going on in our body, you know, and as you do the 3 breaths, exactly as she described it, it's not uncommon that, like, if you were to think of your body on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is like maximum tension, it's not unusual that your first breath rather, is at like 7 or 8 in terms of tension. When you breathe out and breathe back in again, and you're like at 4 or 5, and you breathe out and you breathe back in again, and you're like at 2 or 3, and you breathe out and you breathe back in again. And the cool thing about particularly the heart alignment and the body alignment, we all are naturally coming into entrainment with the group that we're in, whatever is the dominant emotion in the group, which is the reason that oftentimes when people come to a group meditation, like the full moon meditation, like anybody who's ever been to a full moon meditation has probably had somebody go, their first time, what is this? I have never experienced anything like this. And what it is like the community consciousness. We come into this being and we start to relax. So when the hug is occurring, whoever happens to be the deeper, more relaxed one, less in our head, more in our body, will entrain, bring the other person down, and they'll experience a level of comfort as well. And we all kind of just come into harmony. And then on the 2nd and 3rd breath, we start doing that to each other. As Dessa gets more relaxed, my body says, okay, we're relaxing more now. And if she feels my body relax, that sends a signal to her nervous system to say, we're relaxing even more now. We're going even deeper. And so,
everyone want to try? Want to try a soul hug?
if you want to, if you don't, just don't participate. But if you'd like to do a soul hug, and we recommend that you do it with somebody, not necessarily your partners if you're here with a partner, although you can, but you can always do it again with your partner a little bit later tonight. So finding somebody with whom you don't necessarily know, that's opening the possibility that you're going to experience the discomfort, and then the release, and then the relax. And so this is like almost a type of immersion therapy where we're inviting our nervous system to temporarily experience something uncomfortable for the purpose of teaching our body how easily it can relax, and then allowing our body to teach our mind how easy it is to relax. Because once our body knows, that's going to offer the guidance to be able to do it in the rest of the body. So if you're game, stand up. We'll see how many people are standing up. And find a partner with whom you would like to experience a soul hug. Preferably somebody that you don't know. I was going to do Mom, Matt. Do you want to play? Okay. You don't have to. Michelle.
I was told to see that.
Yes. Give everybody a moment or two to finish up. I would like to offer a little chance to give some feedback. What's the other word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Feedback is a perfect word. So.
Okay, yeah. Open
Sharing.
Yeah, discussion.
Discussion,
Yes.
conversation.
I want to know if you can apply to Juilliard now.
Oh, good call. I don't know. Oh, that's my mother-in-law calling me out. I love it.
Go, girl.
I was wondering the same thing.
I don't know. I will look into it. Good call.
Did you have to perform?
I did an audition tape. So living in Delta Junction, it was very remote. So I wrote a letter, and then an essay, and then I did a tape of every instrument. Yeah. It was intense. It
What
a
was
lot of work.
anybody's experience with the hug? How was that? And who took more than one, and was there a difference?
So it was interesting to feel with every person. It was a little tense at first, and you didn't quite know when to start breathing in. But after the first breath, you kind of aligned, and then you got more relaxed into it. It felt really good.
And so I guess I could explain a little better. It's helpful to kind of count together. Like one of you will go 1, 2, 3, inhale, and then you just naturally get in that rhythm. Thank you for that feedback. What about you?
Same feedback. Yeah, the first breath in was a little tense,
Mhm.
a little different. Then after each breath, it relaxed further.
Yeah, and my belief, I'm not 100% sure on the science behind this, so do not quote me, but my belief is that's our electrical system aligning during that first breath. And that's why you're feeling that little bit of tension and you're aware of how tight it can kind of be. And then once you get into that second one, you're more in sync. Your electrical systems are more in sync, that heart rhythm.
Well, the study that I've done, breathing resets the nervous system. That's why whenever somebody's been in a traumatic, they say, breathe. I mean, you see it trying to slow it down, otherwise, your nervous system is wired and, you have cytokine storms and everything else. So breathing is really beneficial because it helps you be present. It helps you reset your nervous system. And the hug was nice because I've never consciously breathed holding something. That was kind of cool because it's like how they're saying you need a hug once a day for daily maintenance. You have multiple hugs because we are creatures of, we need connection. And so it was really cool to experience that connection, not only on a neurophysiology, neurophysiological level, but also just the tender human, the emotional connection. And it was interesting how different everybody felt because the first, it's like, we've never tried it before, so there's that little unknown, like, are we doing this right, or whatever, your head kind of already doing it. But then by the third one, it was like, oh, this is so lovely and natural and perfect. You don't need to worry about the somatics, just do it.
Yeah. Anybody else? Stacy?
Well, I thought after the third hug, let's keep going.
Yeah,
It does.
it does. And it's that happy chemicals that they're releasing in your brain, and it's for both. I mean, what a great natural high, right? Yeah. One of the most interesting things I think I realized this summer is I was at Forest Fair and I did this with a person that was hanging out with our group, and the guy almost came to tears. He hadn't been hugged in almost 20 years.
Wow.
That to me was like, I need to hug more people. It made me feel special that I could give that guy a little bit of love, because that's all it is. It's a little energy.
There's a thing on YouTube called the Free Hugs Campaign. And it's a video. And it tells a story about Juan, the Spanish name Juan man, one man, who decided to do free hugs. And it's a video, he's got a sign, free hugs, and he's walking around and everybody's like, creepy dude, no thanks. And he's trying to get hugs. Finally, a little old lady comes up and looks at him and it's like, I'll give you a hug, young man. And so she hugs him. And then from there, it became popular. And this was at a mall in Sydney, Australia, rather. In Sydney, Australia. And the police came and said, you can't do this. Liability, forget it. And so they had to get 10,000 signatures. So in the video, you see them getting the signatures and they finally got 10,000. And then after that, it's just the whole rest of the video, it's only like 3.5 minutes long, is all about like little kids doing a skateboard and jumping over and then coming up and hugging the guy and just hugs going on. And I have a dream that the Atom Hug Team will someday be going downtown or to the Diamond Mall or someplace else. And I'm down for this, if anybody else is.
Let's do it. We don't have to wait till someday.
Yeah.
Today.
You heard someday, I said Sunday. I mean, we're going now. Yeah, so I mean, that would be something that I think, we could both do and spread love. I mean, I felt it. Matt and I did our first hug. Would you share your thing with your glass blowing thing? Because I mean, it was palpable, especially, and not to put you on the spot, I apologize. It's all part of the process of getting you up here to speak too, by the way.
So, as Dessa said, with her music training, I'm a trained glass blower, so I have a different lung capacity than most people. So when people do breath work and they do guided meditation and stuff, it doesn't really work for me because as they're telling people to exhale, I'm still like halfway through my breath inhaling.
David feels you.
Where, like with the soul hug, you're supposed to be breathing out at the same time, and as he's breathing out, I'm like, I'm not even done. Like I'm not even halfway through this. Like I'll be done with one breath, and he'll be done with 3. So.
And actually, while we were hugging, I'm like, is he breathing? Or is he holding his breath? And he's like kind of cycling in to me. So it was a different experience. And then afterwards, Alexander's like, come on. And we go in and do the bear hug. And he did the thing that Dessa suggested about, okay, 1, 2, 3. And then we were doing it like completely in sync. And so I had the gift of 2 very different experiences, which were cool too. And I love just watching like my own mind going, oh, this is awkward. Or I hope I smell okay. And all of those little things that our head starts to go crazy and then shifting from my head down to my heart and go, oh, but this is so nice. And that shift is just very pleasant. I think it'd be fun to go out into the community and spread the love a little bit with the hug team. So if you're interested in joining the Atom Hug Team, see me afterwards. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, first of all, you have great hugs. And what my experience with you is that I could feel as an artist, I could feel your energy not only being powerful, but it was all over. It was everywhere.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, that it shouldn't be within you, but I meant that it was just as I could paint that, I could see it all around you. As you moved into the next breath, I could sense that you were coming to a place where it is now to be one with yourself, now to be calm. And so I followed you because I was really paying attention to you. So I said, I need to follow her. And I could sense that as you came to that place, I came with you. And it was a very pleasant, equal, solid, comforting moment for me. And then when I think you took the next breath, I got sidetracked a little bit and I kind of pulled away a little bit and I could feel my tension a little bit. But you have it. And it's something, now that I've experienced that, when you practice this, to sense more of of the energy that you have and where you came with that. So as an artist, I would think that as movement coming all the way back to here, which is wonderful. Do you have any feedback for me? Or do you remember?
My feedback to you would be your energy is very, especially at the beginning, very warm and welcoming. And I too felt very centered with that second one. I thought it was coming from you. Because I feel this has been I feel like I've been surfing this past 2 weeks, and I don't surf much, okay? I think I tried it once or twice, but it's been, woo, this is a great high. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm not doing this. Yes, I'm doing this. Okay, I've been there. So that second, I felt, oh yeah, I like this. She's got me grounded. I'm good, so thank you. I think we might have resonated off of each other.
Yeah, we had a meeting place.
For sure, for sure.
And because I have stress as well as, I know you have stress, but we met. We saw each other right then and there.
And that's where I said the intent kind of before. I don't always, but I try to remember to have an intent. Okay, I'm coming at this with love. I'm coming at this with a centering. I'm coming at this to let whatever come out. Sometimes I want to bawl, and that's just fine to let those tears flow. I feel like too many times, especially for me, I try to squash those feelings that you don't want to feel, and it's, for me, easier if I let them out. Because if I squash them down, then they come back up and they come back up and they come back up, and then I'm like, why are they coming back up? So it's better for me, at least, to just let them feel and acknowledge, and then they usually go where they need to go. Anybody else? How was the talk end of it? Did it sound like I was all over the place?
Oh, really? No. Spoke very naturally.
Watching her for these past couple of weeks has been amazing, because her body and her mind are stepping up to this in completely different times. And on Friday, we had just a strategy session kind of about, blocking and tackling sort of stuff. And it was a little intense, kind of more intense than I wanted it to be. But that's just the way that it showed up. The next day, I talked to her, and she was like this. I mean, like, your body, your voice there's no stress, there's no strain, it's just flowing out. But her head was like, and it was like, let me check in with your body again. Oh, it's doing fine. Tell me about your head. Oh, it's whirling. It's a twister. But getting up here, and this is something that you can't really teach people. You just have to take it on a level of trust that once your body got up here, and once you're like, oh, this is okay, and this group is fine, then, like a moment ago, it's like, I'm not even here anymore. Are there any other questions? What else? And there are. Yes.
Well, not to get away from the breathing and the hug stuff, but I don't really know you, so I kind of felt like in your story you got to Anchorage, maybe, and what happened after that?
Yeah, so I didn't give much detail on me, agreed. So I grew up rurally in Alaska, mostly in bush-type Alaska outside of Fairbanks and then to Delta Junction. And when I graduated out of Delta Junction, I didn't go to Juilliard. I did choose to come here to Anchorage. Drove up into Anchorage, went, holy stoplight city, I can't do this. But I'm not leaving UAA, so I went to Palmer out at Matsu. It was much more size appropriate for my needs and wants. And then I slowly came into Anchorage and got a degree here. I ended up with a Bachelor of Science in Natural Science.
Not music.
I still play music. I still play clarinet. I have
Recently performed in a marching band.
Yeah, I will share a warm and fuzzy story if you'd like.
Yes.
Of the music.
Please.
So I've played clarinet since I was 7, and I usually play in a concert band. A concert band is very structured. You have to play what's on the piece, you play what the conductor is indicating, you get louder, you get quieter, etc. There is no improvisation. This trumpeter doesn't get to do what he wants for eight measures. That clarinetist doesn't. But I've always been intrigued by jazz. And last year at Salmon Fest, I saw a band called High Step Society. And now High Step Society is a band, think New Orleans jazz music, backed with EDM. Now, I don't know if many of you know what EDM is, but EDM is electronic dance music. Think 90s rave, womp, 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 womp type music, okay? Now, I didn't think that they would go great together, but I was open to the concept, saw this band, wholly mind-blowing, okay? My partner might have referred to them as orgasmic. They are a great band. So, fast
Where are
forward,
they playing?
they played at Salmon Fest 2 years ago.
Okay, are they playing?
Not currently here. So they were here this summer, and I wanted to play in the marching band at Salmon Fest. They do a marching band parade thing with everybody dressed up in costumes and a marching band. The Park Strippers is the name of the band that kind of leads it on, and everybody's welcome to join up. So I had emailed, I was like, all right, I'm doing this. I got no communication. None, zero, nothing. So I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. Come on, clarinet, show up at Salmon Fest. I'm doing this. I go to the rehearsal. No music, no nothing. They tried to print it off. Stuff happens. So I walk up to a trumpeter and I'm like, can I just get the key? And I ad-libbed it. The trumpeter I walked up to was the fill-in trumpeter for High Step Society. I did not realize it because they dress different, things. So that's Friday, we rehearse. Saturday, we're marching a band and the bassist from High Step Society joined up. So then I was playing with two of High Step Society. Sunday rolls around, I had all of High Step Society playing with the Park Strippers marching band. Best experience of my life up there with having kids. Okay, I felt like I jumped off Mount Everest. It was the best dopamine rush of my life. So I have decided since then I am embracing jazz way more because that resonates with me. I'm scared to do it. The fear is definitely there, but I'm aware and I'm not letting it lead this dance. I am going to do this. So yeah, it's one of the new things I'm being called to is playing some jazz music. So look forward to that in the future.
Yeah.
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 That's it. Listening to the universe has benefits.
So let me ask you a question. So what music were they playing?
They played a variety. One, they did tequila, the old song Tequila. But instead of yelling tequila, they yell, no Pebble Mine, something like that. And then they did another song that was an Italian song. But for me, I've had so many years of training, okay, so many years in Delta of not anything but music because that's what I was absorbing. I read and I played music, that's what I did to keep me out of trouble. And consequently, I just trusted in that training. I didn't have the music, but I knew the key of G has 1 flat, C flat, the key of B, it has X flats, key of C, no flats, so you just go with that and you listen to your ear. For me, I could just pick it up and I would know, oh, that's a C, B, D, E, or that's a G, F, E, so without years of training in music, I can't really explain, but I attribute it to trusting the universe or the Akashic record, that information that is around us at all times if you're open to receiving it. I'm one of those vibrational metaphysical people. So I trusted the universe and the universe really rewarded me and it was an amazing experience. Thank you.
So where's your clarinet?
At home, I almost brought it.
You do flow arts too.
I do. Flow art is, anybody familiar with poi? Like fire poi that the Hawaiians do. They'll dance with fire sticks and they spin them around. All right, kind of something like that, but I do silks. I have a friend who tie-dyes silk and I cut and sew these silk. And on 1 or 2 edges, depending on the design, has weights. And depending where those weights are, makes the silk move. Alexander has an amazing set that my partner, Matt, is very jealous that he got. But Matt would say it's the best person to have gotten that silk because that silk came from my mother-in-law. So I have a very supportive community. And one of the things that Bobby saw at that meditation is what I'm wanting to do, in the point of me doing this, is I'm wanting to help my community. I see too much pain and hurt in my community, and if I can help heal my community, not just the music community, but the dance community, whatever community I'm in, if I can help lift or help anybody, that's what I'm about. And if I can share my story and what I've used or what I've done, and that might help or give somebody an insight on what to do, why not? It's hard to be vulnerable and raw, but if I can do and show how, maybe somebody be confident enough to do it for somebody else. And, you know, that pay it forward type concept. I'm Dessa. Thanks for coming to my talk.
Thank you.
I'll give you a round of applause.